They might look like cartoons to the untrained eyes, but they are most certainly not for kids. Welcome to Watchmojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 most violent comic books.
Cover your eyes, Nancy. I don't want you watching this.
Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're looking at the most over-the-top violent comic books to ever get published. Manga, however, will not be included, because, let's be honest, with the level of violence in some of those books, they really deserve their own list.
Mercy!
Number 10, Invincible. Invincible is a superhero comic like few others. Under the creator-owned Image Comics banner, writers and artists have the opportunity to really push the envelope and take risks in ways they never could with the big two, Marvel and DC. In Invincible, Robert Kirkman draws heavily on classic superhero tropes such as the teenage main character, an alien origin story resulting in near godlike powers, and more. He then proceeds to show just how gruesome battles involving such figures could realistically become. Think Kryptonians not holding back mixed with a Kill Bill level of exaggerated bloodshed. When Battle Beast fought Thrag, violent was putting it mildly. Number 9, Spawn.
Did I do this?
Instinct, sweetheart. You're a killer.
Another Image comic and another grisly display of comic book violence. While Spawn has, spawned a couple of adaptations over the years, neither the film nor the award-winning animated HBO miniseries managed to recreate the grotesque violence of their source material.
Mason, you mafia dirtbag piece of shit. You never looked better.
The HBO series was certainly dark, never shying away from sexuality or violence, but even it had to dial things back a bit. In the gritty 90s, dark and extreme themes were the order of the day, sometimes at the expense of storytelling. Well-known characters were suddenly overjacked, wore insanely pointy costumes, and seemingly growled constantly. The thing is, Spawn managed all of the above in a truly genuine way, and brought quality storylines to justify the carnage. Number 8, Evil Ernie versus Superheroes. While Spawn does plenty of maiming and dismembering, it's often his villains who really bring the bloodshed. Lucky for him, Evil Ernie, the insane supernatural mass murderer, published by Chaos Comics, is not in his rogues gallery, because when Ernie's involved, printing presses kinda run out of red ink. Created by Brian Pulido and Steve Hughes in 1991, Ernie is pretty much evil incarnate, and in this comic book series, the embodiment of evil looks a lot like an 80s metalhead. But, you know, just genocidal. Of all his various miniseries and one-shots, Evil Ernie vs. Superheroes is the most memorably violent. It's essentially an orgy of destruction, with Evil Ernie hilariously ripping apart generic knockoffs of the most popular superheroes. Number 7, Judge Dredd.
Only one thing fighting for order in the chaos. The men and women of the Hall of Justice.
The less said about the Stallone adaptation, the better. But if you've seen the 2012 film adaptation of this comic series, you know just how violent the streets of the dystopian Mega City 1 can get. With the law enforcement officers known as judges serving as judge, jury, and executioner, justice is swift and typically explosive. The comic has a long history of violence, with the chronicles of Judge Dredd and company spanning countless series, one-shots, and miniseries since their 1977 debut in 2000 AD Comics, issue number 2. Judge Dredd can be counted among a select few comic books to ever show the titular hero punching through the head of a villain. It's a violent world full of violent people. Number 6, Sin City.
I take his weapons away. Both of them.
In a comic book world made up almost exclusively of high-contrast black and white, color is used sparingly and to great effect. And more often than not, the color of choice is red, sometimes yellow. Arguably the greatest neo-noir comic ever made, Sin City revels in violent imagery.
Suck the meat off my fingers. He made me watch.
Death is common in the pages of this Dark Horse publication, and people rarely meet their demise in a clean or swift fashion. But even when the series explores the most sadistic of displays, the highly stylized artwork is a finished product that is equally disturbing and beautiful.
Deadly little Miho. You won't feel a thing unless she wants you to. She twists the blade. He feels it.
Number 5, Punisher Max.
Hey man, just take it easy. I'm just trying to make a buck.
Forgive us for stating the obvious here, but the Punisher has earned his name. Since making his debut in The Amazing Spider-Man number 129, he's killed countless criminals. But for most of his publishing history, the character has felt constrained or sold short by his place in the Marvel Universe, where age-appropriate content is key. Realistically though, the dude's a killing machine who uses knives and bullets. That's inherently gruesome content. Finally, with Punisher Max, we get to see Frank Castle in all his glory. We got to witness what Frank does behind those closed doors. The Max imprint is R-rated Marvel content, and boy did this series earn that rating. Torture, headshots, and brutal hand-to-hand combat. Oh my. Number 4. God is dead. Even the best comic book writers are entitled to a mistake or two. Jonathan Hickman gave us great comics like The Nightly News, The Manhattan Projects, and East of West. God is Dead, on the other hand, was largely hated by fans and critics alike. That being said, what it lacks in substance, originality, and storytelling, it makes up for with gratuitous violence. Woo! Here, the gods of various religions essentially throw down in a royal rumble. Kinda like Smite, but bloodier. Published by Avatar Press, a company known for its particularly gory ongoing series, it delivers carnage of biblical proportions. Forget the Nile, the entire planet is running red in this comic. Number 3, Kick-Ass. This comic requires little introduction. While violence is a prerequisite for this particular list, Kick-Ass deserves a special nod for being the only title to really focus on children as the primary agents of carnage and mayhem. These kids are superheroes without powers, so they just pummel, slice, and dice their enemies instead. If you've only ever seen the film adaptations, we highly recommend you pick up one of the trade paperbacks of this infamous series by Mark Millar. The films, which garnered so much controversy among the press, were honestly tasteful compared to the source material. Issue number 2 hilariously included the caption, "Sickening violence, just the way you like it," on its cover. Classic Miller. Number 2, The Walking Dead. Robert Kirkman makes a second appearance on our list with his post-apocalyptic modern classic. After more than a decade of success and over 150 issues, The Walking Dead remains one of the best-selling monthly series, despite the fact that it has, with a few notable exceptions, killed off every main character we've grown to love. In a future where the dead walk the earth, as you can probably imagine, few people leave this world peacefully. While we've largely grown numb to the human-on-zombie and zombie-on-human violence, it's the brutal human-on-human violence that really kept things interesting for all these years. This title proves that you don't need any color to achieve gory results. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Number 1, Crossed. Sometimes the competition for our number 1 spot can be fierce. Other times, one candidate just blows all the others away. In the case of Crossed, however, it more likely maimed, mutilated, tortured, and disemboweled the competition on the way to the top spot. Created by Garth Ennis, who gave us such violent masterpieces as Preacher, The Boys, and the aforementioned Punisher Max series, comes this dystopian tale of a world perverted beyond repair. A mysterious disease doesn't turn people into zombies, but rather the Crossed, utterly depraved psychopaths who kill, rape, and torture everything in their path. Man, woman, child, or animal, regardless of relation. Everything is shown in graphic, stomach-churning detail. So, here's your trophy, Crossed. You earned it. Now, I need to use the bathroom. Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from Watchmojo and subscribe for new videos every day.